Hi everyone, so today I'm doing the first in a series of 3 paintings, and they're kind of Eastery spring paintings that I'm going to do in watercolour with an ink background. So this first one is a chick in front of a solid inked background of an egg, and I'm not using my normal watercolours today. I'm using a set that I was sent by, I think they're called Daveliou. I'll have them in the description. I'm not 100% on how to pronounce it, but I'll be having a review video coming out on those watercolours soon. And they've also sent me some oil paints, some canvases, and I think some mini canvases with acrylic paints are coming on their way, and I already own their acrylic paints anyway, so I'll do reviews on those when I've used them. But so far I am really liking these watercolour paints. I have actually filmed the review video for these, so I've tested them, and I've tested them against my normal watercolours, which are the Winsor and Cotman ones, and I do think I slightly prefer these, and these are way cheaper, and Cotman is really cheap anyway, so that's good. So I'm just kind of layering up lots of different kind of yellows and browns and yellowy browns to get the feathery texture on the chick. As usual, I got the reference image from Morguefile, which is a website that has lots of photos you can search through, and the license on them means that you can do anything with them as long as you alter them. So it's great for artists. You can paint them, you could edit the photos if you wanted to. The only thing you can't do is just like repost the photos. So they're great for me. I just print a load of photos out, start a sketch, and then paint from them as well. So this is kind of a merge of 2 images because I liked the pose of one chick and I liked the feathers and stuff of the other one. I'm using Royal & Langhall brushes as well as these brown ones that I'm using in my hand now. I think those are Rowney. Both sets are very cheap. These Rowney brushes are like the cheap range of brushes from them, so I never go too fancy with my watercolour brushes, even though they do last because they're not getting wrecked by the paint like they would with oil paint. I've had no problems with cheaper brushes, so I've not felt the need to. You can see I've got my heat gun to the right there. I think I cropped out all the clips where I'm using the heat gun just because it's not very interesting to watch, but that just dries the watercolour paint between the layers so that I can just work faster basically. I don't think you can tell from the video because the lines are quite light, but I did outline this with yellow Col-Erase from Prismacolor, so it's not obvious and it just gives me guidelines on where to paint. And sorry that my head's in the video so much. When I'm doing those small details I have to get closer, and subsequently you have to look at the top of my head. Sorry. Just defining the legs a bit more, giving them some actual shading and stuff. Lightening around its eye because that's how the chick in the photo was. I don't know if they are actually lighter around their eyes, but this one was. And now I'm doing the ink background. As you may have noticed, when I opened the ink it sprayed a little, and there are now 2 lovely purple dots in the middle of the feathers, so that's not ideal. But yeah, so I'm just now trying to paint as flat of a wash as I can of this ink on. And as I said before, I already had this egg shape traced, so I wasn't just kind of winging it. There I'm just trying to remove the ink that's splattered on. In the process, obviously that's going to remove a bit of the watercolour, so now I'm fixing that patch. Though you can still see it, it's not quite as obvious. And then I'm just building up the shadows a little bit again, because now I've got the background kind of washed him out a little, so just kind of bringing back some of the contrast. Then flattening some of the ink a bit in the areas that are less pigmented. Sorry about the traffic in the background, I live by quite a main road and I just edit out the background noise usually, but that really loud one isn't going to be able to be edited out, so sorry that you're going to hear that. And as usual with my watercolour paintings, I have used my Polychromos on top to add some extra detail. Kind of intensifying some of the colours, upping some of the contrast, and mostly just getting in those little details I wouldn't have been able to do too well with watercolours. And then, very conveniently, I have a Polychromo that is almost exactly the same colour as the ink behind it. So I'm now using that to help intensify the background a bit and flatten it also, and also just make it the same texture as the rest of the piece. My only complaint I would say about the Polychromos is I love them as pencils, but they really don't have that many colours. So that's the watercolour palette that I got from Daveliou. Well, not really, I made that palette, hence why it's kind of ugly and cracked, because it's the first palette I've ever made, and I didn't look anything up online to realise you should do it in stages, so I just blobbed a load of paint in there. But those are the paints from Daveliou, and then in the palette I bought. So yeah, that's the final piece. I added a little bit of the Uniball Signa in white to brighten up its eye, sign the bottom with the polychrome I used in the background so it blends in nicely, and that's it. So thank you so much for watching. Stick around for the next two pieces in this series, and also the review on the Daveliou watercolour paints.